You're watching this week's show with Dan and Mike.
This week's show.
It's here.
We are back in our original studio, mostly because the podcast studio that I'm building is so much more epic than the one that we had.
It's a proper bona fide,
Yeah.
all bells and whistles podcast studio.
It's going to be...
We're taking this podcasting seriously.
Very much so. So, waiting there just to be able to actually be in there safely. You'll see what I mean when we go there.
So before we go to that new studio, like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. I've got you in early, you see.
And we've got some fun stuff to catch up on this week.
What, new studio? That's fun.
That's fun. I actually did a gig of a band I've never seen before.
New music live.
Yes.
Not just in the radio.
No, and I was so nervous.
Nervous to go to a gig.
Nervous that he wasn't going to be any good.
Oh, high expectations.
Yes.
I see what you mean.
So, of course, need to tell you who I'm talking about, which is Catch Your Breath. I am a massive fan. Actually became a fan off of this, our radio show. You can find a link to our radio show down below.
Where you can like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. You might laugh, but it does help us.
Yes.
It just changes the algorithm that little bit.
And we want to bring people everything that we are into. So...
Not everything.
well, no, we'll keep some stuff private, but anything that we can post...
Def and Dan on Instagram.
Oh, that might, James. But no, the reason I was so nervous is on album, he was doing things almost as impressive as Noah Sebastian from Bad Omens.
Okay.
So I was really nervous, like, is he an album sort of vocalist that needs the production, or can he do it live?
That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and go watch Catch Your Breath. He is incredible live. He writes about some really, really like relatable stuff as well. There's some breakup in there. I'm always down for a bit of breakup music.
That's why you're such a Billie Eilish fan, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sad Girl Summer coming up.
But the other ones, and I don't mind admitting it, we talked about it on the podcast before, but he does stuff about addiction as well. I am currently like this man as well. We're both sober from alcohol and have been for quite a few years now, slightly different years between us.
Almost a decade for myself.
Yes, and mine wobbly start of 7 years. So anybody that's having a wobbly start to sobriety, don't give up, because I got through the wobbly bits, and I'm now completely free of alcohol for 4.5 years. So listening to somebody on stage that can do a song about struggling with addiction and post-addiction, because I still consider myself an alcoholic, even though I don't drink. That was really, like, that hit deep when I was watching him live. So recommend to watch Catch Your Breath. Didn't do an interview. They didn't have anything to interview about, so management said no. That's absolutely fine.
That happens a lot.
Yep. But I cannot wait to get a camera on the two of us and actually have a chat with them. It's going to be awesome.
I'm sure they'll be back.
Yes. And now something that is actually quite new for us.
New studio.
As well as a new studio.
Under construction.
Last year, I went from being a fair weather WWE fan that watched the PLEs with a friend of mine to deciding that I was going to watch every weekly show until the Wrestlemania that we just had, number 41. And I think because I got so obsessed with it, and then it was everywhere in media, that you thought, well, I'm going to have to check this out once it hit Netflix.
Yeah, I kind of jumped on the bandwagon of popular things, but I still haven't seen White Lotus.
No. But so we actually did very different WrestleManias this year, because I did my classic. I watched both nights together on the same day, just after the second night.
I did 24 hours viewing in 48 and a bit hours, because I watched the Hall of Fame,
Yep.
the pre-show on
Yep.
Saturday, of the Saturday one, the Saturday main event, the post-Saturday chat. Then on the Sunday, which was actually Monday,
Yep.
because I didn't watch it live, because
No,
it was
no,
like
we're
stupid
all-
o'clock in the morning in the UK.
Yeah.
So then I did the
same again.
the pre-show, the main event, and then the post-show. And I'm literally, as you arrived here to do this in our lovely studio, I was roaring it up.
Raw after Mania, what a Raw that always is.
Raucous.
Also, shout out to somebody that crosses my love of WWE and his love of the NFL, Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
Pat McAfee.
He got choked out.
Yeah, and it was so well done. I know it's all kayfabe storyline, but I genuinely enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff going around online at the moment because the WWE are masters at misdirection and manipulation of media. So The Rock did the Pat McAfee podcast, and gave things away.
I haven't given that a watch just yet. I've seen the clips.
They're interesting, but
a bit wrestled out.
But The Rock is like people that think that he's given stuff away that he shouldn't. There is no time, in my opinion, that The Rock is on camera that he's not aware of what he's doing. Like,
100%.
This is all part of I was watching another Chris Van Vliet, shout out to you. I was watching something that you were talking about with one of your guests, is how far ahead you try and plan, or at least have ideas for.
I reckon Rock's probably dropping Easter eggs for Easter next year for WrestleMania 42 in New Orleans, I believe.
Yes, and that is very much the case. Now, the other thing that is the flip side is you can never know what's going on. Like in the last little while, we had Kevin Owens, shout out to him, he's just finished his surgery. He got fairly injured and that killed a storyline. We had Big Bronson Reed break an ankle at War Games, I think it was. So that had to change storylines. So even though they planned for a couple of years or like a year in advance, there's also secondary storylines and lots of things to do. But we're here to talk about what our favourite moments of WrestleMania 41 actually were.
Oh no, I've got to think.
Well, I can lead with one of mine because I'm a proper little fanboy, including I think you've still got it to come on Raw, which is the follow-up to Jey Uso, yeet, winning the World Heavyweight title. Now, for me, I remember watching WrestleMania 30 where Daniel Bryan won the world title, and he was just part of the Usos at that point, the tag team that were brilliant, because the Usos are one of the best tag teams in the world.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything in many ways more reminiscent of how much wrestling has changed over the last couple of years, that rather than him always just being regarded as a tag team and he had nothing to offer elsewhere, the fans wanted his push. We have been yeeting hard. And watching the crowd response over the last 6 to 12 months as he left the bloodline and started becoming main event Jey Uso rather than just kind of part of Roman's family, has been incredible. And I called it because our manager is also a massive fan as well. Thank you. That he was going to pull out even more special stuff than he did when he won the Intercontinental Championship a little while back.
Okay.
And so watching him do Gunther's moves against Gunther to win, and the fact that he got Gunther to tap out, incredible. That was such a solid way to actually win the World Heavyweight title. It felt believable. It felt like it should happen. So that was one of my favourite moments from Saturday.
Okay.
Do you have, because we got the scorecard just up behind the camera.
To be fair, I quite liked Americano because WWE have just bought AAA.
Yes.
And that was the big thing that they announced on the Friday before WrestleMania. But yeah, it was just fun watching Nacho Libre, and all I can think of is Jack Black.
Well, the great thing about this is, one, it is legitimising within the WWE, not within the wrestling world because they've always been legitimate, but luchadors have never quite been as legitimised as they currently are in the WWE. It's partly why I think there was a bit of a lineup change, which meant that the Hall of Famer, Rey Mysterio, decided to give Rey Fenix, a different one, his chance to actually have a WrestleMania moment. And what I just caught before we started doing this is Penta, the other new luchador on the sort of roster, was shedding a tear watching Rey Fenix get his first WrestleMania moment, knowing that he was about to the next night get out there and be another luchador that's having a WrestleMania moment.
Yeah, it was
incredible.
It was pretty cool having it spices it up, and then obviously the women's triple threat was
Insane.
lots of hair.
I genuinely.
Lots of hair.
I love the fact that they kept the title on EO Sky, because it's something that I'm learning as I go, how much NXT has gone from being a separate entity to the main roster to being a very complementary thing now.
Yeah, it's like having a draft, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
NXT is creating the champions that are now coming through. Because if you remember, NXT used to be at Download Festival for about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
So
and
the-
Adam Cole and Pete Dunne.
Yeah, and one of the guys at Wrestlemania was at Download
Yeah.
doing stuff, and now he's like the champion. I've forgotten his name though.
I can't remember which one.
He begins with a B.
B.
No,
No,
we'll have to
it'll come back to
We'll
him.
have to scroll on the screen and.
Just to quickly cover, love the fact that New Day are now tag team title holders. Means their heel turn is actually going somewhere and it's doing things which it's given
Pays off to go heel, doesn't
a
it?
little bit actually, because we've had a couple of people win titles going heel, but that's for Sunday night.
Still don't like that Scar band.
Jay Cargill definitely needed to win against Naomi as well. That was the right thing for the storyline. And oh my god, what a validation for the actual personal storyline, not necessarily the kayfabe storyline, but Jacob Fatu, the guy that they repeatedly say on screen was sat in a jail cell watching his cousins, the Usos, on screen and realising he wanted a different life for himself, coming onto the WWE roster, getting more popular than the person that he was working with being Solo Sikoa, and then getting so popular he's already got a championship on him. And it just works.
It can go pretty fast.
I've also seen him backstage doing a little video for Penta, and then he does happy feet like a cat afterwards, because he's genuinely just so happy being there, which was amazing.
Talking of photos and
yeah.
things like that, Drew McIntyre doing the selfie outside the ring after a pinning.
So good. He's having so much fun right now.
Yeah.
Just going to finish off with a couple of results, because we had Tiffany Stratton win against Charlotte Flair. That's cool, because Tiffany is so over right now. And then I think the biggest thing, the biggest thing that has happened in wrestling for a while that doesn't involve a title is 3 grown men fighting over Paul Heyman. And just, it was so beautifully done, because I was so confident that Paul Heyman was going to turn. Shout out to Bully Ray, or Bubba Ray Dudley, because he did a big thing that went viral about how Paul Heyman always turns. He always turns on the person that he's working with when their time is done.
Oh, right.
And if you look at what Roman's actually done with his bloodline, he's raised up all of the people that have been in the bloodline, even including Sami Zayn. But he's also been there to help raise up his old Shield members that are still in the WWE. Essentially, working with Paul Heyman has done exactly what it needed to do. And the only reason I can think that Seth is working with him now is because it's a new thing for both of them to be doing, because Seth's not Paul Heyman's normal type of person to work with, and Seth is incredible on the mic by himself. So those two working together, I'm really excited for the next few months to see what actually happens. But I still just get confusing feelings watching Roman Reigns topless, to be honest, because the man is just an Adonis, like in the best possible shape of his life, and legitimately looks like a world champion anytime he wrestles. Same can be said for CM Punk and Seth Rollins.
He's looking quite old now, though, CM Punk.
Yeah, but he looks healthier than when he was in the WWE before. Like, it's definitely the best era for his sort of physique and physicality, but that's, as he said on Twitter a little while back, that's what happens when you work underneath a good boss rather than the guy that's not there and we don't talk about anymore. Which is the way Cody put it.
he was brought up in the Hall of Fame.
I can imagine. I mean, he's
by Triple H, but
he's the one that's allowed to.
Yeah, he's allowed to because he's the boss. Plus, it's his father-in-law, so he's not going to call him out. Is
No, and you know, for all of the faults of Vince McMahon, we do have a worldwide wrestling community because of what he started.
Finn Balor was the guy that was at NXT at Download.
That was the one. Yeah.
That was years ago, and now he's like
Well,
main
Finn
event.
Balor is an incredible wrestler and just one of the angriest looking abs I've ever seen. He knows this. He gets told constantly.
I can imagine. The fact that for that match as well, Kerry King was doing the
I
intro.
knew you would love that moment as well, just seeing Kerry King. And what was funny is people that don't realise how big Slayer have done things before. The reason why he wasn't worried coming out to a crowd of that size.
He's done stadiums.
Yeah, when you're part of the original Big Four, then you've definitely played some big crowds.
Yeah, even Pat McAfee was like, "Oh my God, it's Slayer! Oh my God!" kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it was Kerry King from Slayer. It's not the whole band.
I mean, it would have been incredible if they did, but he wrote that by himself rather than underneath the
it's-
Slayer banner.
Yeah,
which,
it's from his solo.
Yeah.
King Kerry.
and just leading into off of that, the Damian Priest Drew McIntyre fight. Given that
No
we've
holds barred.
no holds barred, and they even got me at one point. I like paying attention and making sure I don't get caught off guard. But when he pushed Damian Priest out of the ring, I forgot there were tables outside, and it was only just before he hit. I was like, wait, no, there's tables, because it was just so well done. Like the spots that they did. I just love watching Drew McIntyre work because he looks brutal, but he is safe as anything.
He looks like he can toss a caber.
Yeah. And shout out to our old housemate who was Scottish. This is what he told us is like the epitome of Scottish humour, is what Drew McIntyre does on the mic.
Yeah, fair enough.
Is be like really aggressive and manly, but then flick his hair really camply and stalk off. You know, it's absolutely fantastic. And as you said, the picture online as he held the phone up above his head.
Yeah.
It's just
selfie. Yeah,
so good.
Amazing.
And he's having so much fun. And this again feeds back to last year's WrestleMania, where Drew McIntyre, because he was the guy that won the world title for the first time in lockdown.
Yeah.
And he had to win it to nobody in the Performance Centre. And I've watched him on Chris Van Vliet saying how much the moment last year at 40 really meant to him, because he actually got to hold up a title with the WrestleMania crowd there. Because my heart broke in lockdown when he said to the camera, "You're all here with me," and I knew he meant it, but that you work your whole career to get that title and you've got to win it in front of no one cheering. That's got to suck a little bit. But Triple H is a brilliant boss, so he gave him that moment and then created the storyline between him and Drew that lasted until this Mania as well.
Yeah.
Also, shout out, I think it was Clash at the Castle, where Damien missed the ropes and he went clattering over and got proper stuck upside down. And the reason I love Drew so much is Drew's first reaction was to check he's okay, and then when he realised he was, carry on sort of the kayfabe and started attacking him. But his first reaction was to try and, if Damien broken his ankle or done something worse, he was there ready to almost, and you can imagine Drew actually being able to do this, throw him back over the ropes so that the ropes untwisted. So yeah, just lots of love for the current roster and how much they look after each other, even if there is professional rivalry. We don't have people getting hurt from being shot on in the ring as much as we used to. So we've done the triple threat, we've done the Sin City Street Fight.
And did I not call it
With
Stone Cold would be back?
You did call it. Did you call that he was going to crash into the barrier?
Well, no, but it's the reaction from the person behind
Oh, what,
it.
the one that paused and waited to fall over when she realised there was a lawsuit?
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
It's been memed so much.
It's
like,
fantastic. But that's part of the risk of being on the boundary or something. It's like we never go to the front of the gig because we don't anymore because we don't want to get crushed. You go to the front of the gig knowing the risks that you take. And you take a stage seat at a WrestleMania event knowing that there could be a little bit of interaction. Probably not a quad bike crashing into the barrier, but still.
You definitely wouldn't want to be a commentator. The amount of times that table got trashed.
By Roman Reigns on the second night, by himself, just trashing it. First night. Just going to cover the Fatal 4-Way and go, it was a fantastic match, and I love the fact, two things about Dominic Mysterio winning. One, that he did. He needed to, Dirty Dom. And secondly, the fact that the crowd decided to actually show him the love that we have for him. Because he plays the heel so well, but we actually wanted to see him succeed as the fans.
He's learnt well from his father, though, because being the heel of Metallica.
Not only that, but
not true.
the fake dad, that he looks like being Eddie Guerrero. Also, that's where his Three Amigos move comes from. He's a child of wrestling as well as Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
I remember the custody match of Dominic Mysterio. What we didn't realise is that we were going to watch a custody match of Paul Heyman this year, but there was actually a custody match for Dominic when he was a kid, and he's been in the business working ever since. Also, for us from the UK, Joe Hendry. Say his name, and he appears. I was so happy to see, because he came out at Rumble, and that's kind of like where a TNA champion would come out these days.
Okay.
But to validate both TNA and Joe Hendry as a person, to get him come out and face Randy Orton, again, you can watch online where he's talking to Bubba Ray Dudley about it, because they say all the important stuff, but the secondary RKO after he'd held the hand up and then on the chest, basically said, you're here, you're part of the team, so is TNA. The Logan Paul versus AJ Styles, not a huge amount, apart from Logan did prove that he can do a lot more technical wrestling than people give him credit for.
Yeah, he's had a year's practice since the last time.
But he's taking on, and this is what I like, is he takes on the criticisms that people have and then turns them into a win. So he did a deliberately technical match rather than a super high flying one.
It was still a boring game though.
It was not his best work, but I think this is the problem when you come in as a high flyer like he did, is if you're not doing sort of a backflip out of the ring, some people are waiting for that. However,
he shot his load too early. I mean, he's done all of his look, I can do this kind of tricks, and then now it's like predictable.
It's Logan Paul. I never thought he'd even be a champion in the WWE when he first came, and he proved his worth there. And the one thing I will say is he stole Chris Jericho's Lion Salt. But did you see the fact that he actually bounced off the bottom ropes and went all the way across the ring? It's not the most showy thing, but to get that distance, that is impressive. Then we had the women's tag team title match, which was kind of overshadowed by the fact that Becky Lynch came back, and we're happy to see her back. She's just the man.
Literally.
And then finally, because
the post on that was good actually.
Yeah.
With Becky, that was nice.
She is just wonderful. She is fantastic to work with. Apparently, her and Seth have got like the cutest marriage as well. So just happy to see her back, because when Rhea Ripley got injured last year, she extended the amount of time that she was going to be in the WWE for to make sure that they could move the title over like in a better way than just putting it on the next person.
Yeah.
Because she was one of the ones that could have the title put on her at a moment's notice, and then she lost it in a very believable way, which was, good for business. And she halted her own stuff that she was doing in the year between to help out the fans, to help out the company. I just think that's amazing. However, we've got one final match to talk about, and clearly John Cena watched you get angry about ska music and decided to go even more into the heel vibe.
It was all very predictable though, and a very, very slow match. I thought I could hear them talking out the moves and using hand gestures to, I'll move that way, you come this way kind of thing. It's just like,
I mean, that is
either that or 24 hours of wrestling is now, as well as being able to talk Behemoth, I can now talk Jericho? No.
Well, you can talk is Jericho.
Yeah,
it's the podcast.
That's what
the problem is that there is some calling of things out. Like John Cena's always been somebody that calls out stuff in the ring.
Oh yeah, completely agree.
You can find the reels.
You have to be able to communicate with the person you're acting against, or wrestling against, or playing music against. You've got to vibe with the crowd.
There's cues no matter what.
Yeah.
But no, what I like,
a bit like getting your phone in a ghost gig. Not those kind of cues.
No. But I got to admit, I loved it because last year we had, for Cody to win, we had loads of people interrupting, loads of interference from other wrestlers, back and forth. Undertaker turned up, Cena turned up, everybody turned up. Whereas this was much more, for the most part, a traditional 1v1, which
it was very,
and they try and do at least one of those properly at a WrestleMania. And I love the fact that they said, or John Cena said, I'm going to destroy wrestling. And so the only person that came to the ring to help him was the very confusing Travis Scott coming down to the ring. But that's the point, is it's meant to, he wanted to ruin wrestling. And so bringing out somebody that's not even a wrestler to like help him get the title, that's the whole point, is he's doing everything that we don't want him to that. He's being like the quintessential heel.
Well, plus Travis has actually been training. He's been down at training camp in Florida, apparently.
No doubt.
And, learning the moves and whatnot, in case the singing and the other business empires he's got doesn't quite work out.
Unlikely with the amount of money he makes on tour currently, but that's probably because he does things like come out at WrestleMania. And I've been watching the wrestling pages, and I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks to see whether or not the conspiracy theory, because a few months back, Jey Uso had Travis Scott come down to the ring with him as his friend. And there's been things like him and The Rock have held up the same thing in the same way. Whether or not, did Jey Uso sell his soul? We don't know yet. It's because it's not been...
to The Rock?
To The Rock to get the title. It could be the angle. We could even see a heel turn
that was
from
one
Jey
thing
Uso.
That was actually missing, I thought, was The Rock didn't show a face at all for
No,
the whole weekend.
That
considering he was such a big part of it last year, and he's like chief executive officer of TKO, whatever it is.
I mean, he has already talked about it, but I agree with one thing that he said, is that he didn't want to be the thing that people focused on. It was meant to be about John Cena and Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. And last year, we all know how badly his attempt to come in and be the main event actually happened, because he had to change it and it went to Cody and all of this sort of stuff. I think it's showing that he did listen to the fans from last year that said, we don't want it always to be The Rock coming in and doing everything.
You can have too much Rock, which is not what I'd say on a radio show podcast.
No.
We're talking wrestling, so
especially because we're called a rock show with our link down below. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell.
Well, Dan did it this time.
There we go. But yeah, I always think that the first Mania after a big anniversary event, a bit like Download. Download 21, a lot of people criticised because it wasn't as big as Download 20. But Download 20 was the anniversary. It's meant to be a bigger year. So WrestleMania 40 was huge because it was the 40th. 41 is always going to have people criticising it because it's going to be low energy compared to the year before, because it's not an anniversary Mania.
True.
So I think they've started an awful lot of storylines. I think we've got some very exciting stuff left to come out of the things that happened.
And SummerSlam is not too far away.
Exactly, and you've got a few things left on Raw that you're yet to see, because I know that I walked in the room watching it, that I know that you've got left to watch as well. And you'll see what I mean about how they've created so many storylines, even the Raw after Mania. Now, we've told you our opinions, but what we want to hear in the comments below is, what do you think? Do you agree with what the WWE has done? Do you think that they're losing their touch after a couple of golden years? What do you want to see next year at Mania? Tell us below, because when probably something like SummerSlam, maybe Money in the Bank as well, because that's always a pretty big one, we want to know what you guys think, so we can talk about your opinions as much as talk about our opinions. It's the first heavily wrestling podcast that we've done, so feel free to criticise me for everything I said. I'm quite used to it with everything else we've posted on the YouTube. Yeah, so
let's wrap it up there then.
Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, I'm just going to start crying about all the comments I read. Toodles. Alright, well, thank you for watching our first foray into wrestling podcasting. I know it's a little bit late out, but we have been very, very hard at work building the new studio, as well as maintaining normal life stuff as well. I'm a driving instructor, Mike's got his own job, our manager has a job. We do this for the love of doing it, so thank you for being patient, our avid fan, just the one. And next week it is going to be the first podcast in the new studio, so make sure you tune in. I am so genuinely proud of what we've built that I can't wait to show you next week. As you can tell, new office, new setup, we're good to go.